Alright, so someone on the internet wrote a little comedy skit. It is a fake behind-the-scenes brainstorm session between the creator of the show From and his monsters, and it is hilarious. But buried inside the jokes is something the fandom has been losing sleep over for weeks now. Because here is the thing. Season 4 just dropped one of the most unsettling reveals in the entire run of this show. And a random fan, writing a goofy little roleplay post, accidentally cracked open a theory that might explain everything. So today, we are breaking it all down. The fan post, the actual episode, the lore, and the terrifying idea that the scarecrows were never meant to scare people away. They were meant to keep something else inside. Let us get into it. Before we get to scarecrows and lake monsters, let me give you the quick rundown on what From actually is. Because if you have not watched it, number 1, go watch it, and number 2, here is what you need to know. From is a sci-fi horror show on MGM+. It is about a small town in the middle of nowhere that people cannot leave. You drive in, you cannot drive out. The roads loop back. People have been trapped there for decades. And every single night, creatures come out of the woods and try to kill everyone. These creatures look completely human. During the day, totally invisible. At night, they walk up to your door, smiling, knocking, saying things like, "Come outside, it is so nice out here." And if you open that door, they rip you apart. What makes this show different from your average Monster of the Week horror is that the lore runs incredibly deep. There are talismans that keep the creatures out of your home. There's a massive tree with symbols carved into it. There are past lives, visions, a mysterious man in yellow, and now, as of season 4, there are giant sentient scarecrow dolls rising out of a lake. The show has been compared to Lost, which is either the highest compliment or the most terrifying warning, depending on who you ask. Now, somebody online wrote a short comedy post imagining the show's creator, who they call Miwai, sitting in a brainstorm session with two monsters, simply labeled Monster 1 and Monster 2, also known as Dave. And it goes like this. Miwai tells the monsters he wants new spooky ideas. Monster 1 suggests dolls. Miwai says they already did that. They go back and forth. Monster 1 somehow remembered the name of a specific dummy from a previous episode, a dummy named Jasper, which sends Miwai into a spiral. Then Monster 2, Dave, suggests scarecrows. Miwai dismisses it immediately, says scarecrows are just another kind of doll, then folds completely and says fine, they will do the scarecrows. Later in the skit, Miwai sees the early design concepts and hates them, says they look like a cross between Cabbage Patch Kids and a Macy's Day Parade balloon. Dave is upset. Miwai apologizes, blames it on a one-meal-a-day diet that has been wrecking his mood. Monster 1 backs Miwai up. Dave apologizes. Miwai tells Dave to get rid of the designs before Boyd finds them and starts laughing. And then the twist, a character named Donna shows up and says, quote, "What if the reason these were in the lake was to keep something else in there from coming out?" And Miwai completely loses his mind with excitement. He starts calling for Dave, congratulating Dave, telling everyone to come look at what Dave helped figure out. The post ends with a proposal to name the milkman monster Dave going forward as a tribute. It is funny, it is sweet, and it is low-key one of the most accurate summaries of how the show builds its mythology that I have ever read from the fandom. So let us talk about the real episode this post is reacting to. Season 4, Episode 5, titled What a Long Strange Trip It Has Been, released May 17th, 2026. The episode picks up right where Episode 4 left off. A group of survivors near the settlement lake that includes Donna, Ellis, Patty, Roger, Tabitha, and Ethan spot what looks like a cluster of bodies floating on the water. They drag them ashore, and what they find is not bodies at all. They are enormous, life-sized dolls made of wool, rags, and stuffing, shaped like people, completely dry on the inside even though the outer surface is soaked through. Which, if you know anything about this show, is the kind of detail that means something is seriously wrong. The group debates what to do with them. Donna stabs one open to check for hidden threats. Nothing unusual inside, just stuffing. Roger wants to throw them back in. Others think they might be dangerous. Eventually, they decide to weigh them down with rocks and sink them back into the lake, figuring they were placed there for a reason, possibly to stop something from surfacing. But that night, everything goes sideways. Tabitha starts having fragmented memories, past life visions. She sees a child playing with small versions of these same dolls, then a man, probably her father in that past life, who was terrified of them. He had recurring nightmares about the dolls, so he threw them into the lake, and when he died, the dolls transformed. They grew. They came to life. Then the creatures attack the cabin. The talismans do nothing. These scarecrows do not follow the same rules as the nocturnal monsters. One of them tears Roger apart in a scene that is genuinely difficult to watch. Tabitha, drawing on that past life memory, figures out that the forest totems scattered around the area can actually damage them. She uses one and drives the scarecrow off. The takeaway: a new class of monster has entered the game, born from nightmares, immune to talismans, and apparently connected to the lake in a way nobody fully understands yet. Here is the part the fan post got exactly right. When Donna first examines the dolls, she floats two possible explanations. Either they were placed in the lake to stop people from exploring what was beneath the water, or they were placed there to trap something in the lake and stop it from coming out. That second theory, the one that makes me in the post completely freak out, is the one that the show has not confirmed but also has not denied. And the more you sit with it, the more it reframes the entire arc of Season 4. Think about it, the lake has been called the Lake of Tears. It has had ropes and nets connected to strange objects below the surface. Jim Matthews left a message from beyond the grave pointing Ethan toward it. The show has been building up this lake as a place of significance for weeks. If the Scarecrow dolls were originally created or placed specifically to seal something beneath that water, then pulling them out was not just a mistake. It was a catastrophic mistake, because whatever was in that lake is now free. And nobody in the town even realizes that is what they did. Let us step back and look at the bigger picture of the monster mythology in this show. The creatures in From are officially credited in production materials as nightmare creatures. They dress in clothes from decades past. There is a milkman, a farmhand, a bride, a cowboy, a nurse, a cheerleader, a librarian. They look like they stepped out of a 1950s catalog. The prevailing fan theory, and one the show has been quietly nudging toward, is that these are people who were once trapped in the township. People who made a terrible bargain. There is a reveal in the Season 3 finale where a character sees what the monsters really are and says they sacrificed their children because something promised them they would live forever. So the creatures are possibly former residents, which means the township has been doing this, trapping people and breaking them down for a very long time. The Scarecrow dolls feel like a different layer of the same system. They do not come out at night like the other creatures. They are not bound by the talisman rules. They were dormant underwater. They are tied to childhood nightmares and past life memories in a way that feels more personal, more ancestral. One theory circulating in the fandom right now is that the Scarecrow dolls represent the fears of a specific bloodline, that the man who threw them into the lake was not just some random scared resident. He was someone whose nightmares literally shaped the environment of the township, which would mean the township does not just trap people. It feeds on what they fear. It takes those fears and makes them real. Back to the fan post for a second, because there is a detail in it that is actually more significant than it seems. Monster 1 remembers the name of the dummy, Jasper, and Miwai is baffled that anyone remembered that. Then Monster 1 explains that they were told to pay attention to all the details because everything is important. This is a joke, but it is also a perfect encapsulation of the experience of watching From. The show is notorious for planting small details early that pay off much later. Viewers have been keeping spreadsheets, tracking every single symbol, name, color, and line of dialogue across 4 seasons. Jasper, if you are wondering, is a reference to a ventriloquist dummy that appeared in an earlier episode. It was presented as creepy but inactive, just sitting there, a background detail. And Miwai in the post is basically saying it does not matter until it starts moving and picking up kitchen knives. Which raises the obvious question for any longtime viewer. What other inactive background details are quietly waiting to come alive? The music box ballerina was mentioned in the post as another example. There was a spooky music box in the show, a small figure inside it. At the time it was presented as atmospheric background dressing, a detail to make the town feel old and strange. But in a show where small toy-sized dolls can grow into building-sized monsters because someone drowned their nightmares in a lake, nothing is just atmospheric background dressing. Here is the real question Season 4 is building toward, and one the fan post accidentally points straight at. What is the Lake of Tears actually for? We know it does not have healing properties. Ethan tested that with a dead bird and nothing happened. We know there is a net connected to a rope that leads down into the water, and that net contained the Scarecrow dolls. We know the dolls were placed there deliberately by someone in a past era of the township's history. But here is what we do not know. Whether the lake is a containment system, a door, a burial ground, or something else entirely. The golem subplot running through Season 4 is interesting in this context. Fatima has been trying to build a protective golem based on mythology her father taught her. In Jewish folklore, a golem is a creature made from clay that is animated through ritual and used to protect a community. It is mindless but loyal. It does what it is told. The Scarecrow dolls bear a surface resemblance to that concept. Objects made from material given a kind of life, assigned a purpose. The difference is the purpose here seems to be containment rather than protection. And then there is the question of what they were containing. If the dolls grew to their current size because the man who threw them in died and his fear was no longer bound to his living body, then his nightmare became unmoored. The dolls became the nightmare, free to expand into whatever shape fear takes when it has nothing left to anchor it. Which means whatever was beneath the lake when the dolls were first placed there might be something even older, something that predates the nightmare creature system entirely. Let us zoom out one more time and talk about the pattern From keeps following, because understanding the pattern is the key to understanding why this season feels different. Every season introduces a new layer of the mythology. Season 1 established the basic rules: the town, the talismans, the creatures. Season 2 expanded the creature lore and started showing us that the monsters had history, possibly even prior lives. Season 3 went deeper into the past life angle and introduced the man in yellow as a primary antagonist operating at a level above the creatures. Season 4 has done something different. It is not just adding a new monster, it is introducing the idea that the mythology has multiple parallel systems that do not interact with each other cleanly. The nocturnal creatures follow one set of rules. The man in yellow follows a different set. The Scarecrow dolls follow a third set, and the lake apparently operates as its own thing entirely. Boyd and Jade have been working the angle of escaping the Township, but the reveal in episode 5 that whatever is locked in the lake might now be unlocked suggests escape might not just be difficult. It might be the wrong goal entirely. Because if pulling the Scarecrows out opens something, leaving the Township means leaving it open, leaving whatever was inside the lake free to do whatever it was being contained from doing. The fan post ends on that exact note. Donna's theory is presented as the eureka moment, not the answer, the better question, which has been the operating principle of this show since season 1. The post is funny and nerdy and a little chaotic. Dave the monster and his Scarecrow designs that look like parade balloons. Miwai's caloric rage. Monster One's incredible commitment to remembering unimportant character names, but what it really is a love letter to how this show makes its audience feel. From does something unusual. It trusts its viewers so completely that the audience starts to feel like collaborators. When a fan writes a post imagining the writers accidentally cracking their own mystery through a throwaway character suggestion, that is not disrespect toward the show. That is deep engagement. That is a fandom that has internalized the show's energy so thoroughly they can simulate the creative process. The proposal at the end to name the milkman monster Dave going forward is the cherry on top. It is affectionate. Dave did not mean to solve the mystery. Dave just wanted to try something. And accidentally, through the messy, imperfect, hunger-fueled creative process that the post dramatizes, the best idea in the room came out of nowhere. That is how good horror works. The scariest thing is usually not the thing you planned. It is the thing that emerged when you stopped trying to control the design and let the logic of fear take over. So, Scarecrow dolls born from a dead man's nightmares, a lake that might have been a prison, talismans that do not work on things older than the system that created them, and a fan post that figured out the thesis of the most important episode of Season 4 by writing a bit about a monster named Dave who just wanted to try scarecrows. I love this show, I love this fandom, and I am genuinely scared of what comes next. If you are caught up on Season 4 and you want to talk theories, drop them in the comments. If you think the lake is a door, tell me what you think is on the other side. If you think the dolls are connected to a specific character's bloodline, I want to hear it. And if you have a theory about Jasper the dummy and whether he is going to pick up a kitchen knife before the season ends, please, for the love of everything, put it below. We are all in this together. Until next time.